So good morning again. Let's just take off with where we got to. So this is Phil 417 again for the benefit of those who may want to play it back later. It's contemporary issues in philosophy. I'm addressing City Campus class 2023 first semester. This is December 2023. Okay, but it is still beneficial to the main campus class and maybe subsequent groupings. We are discussing the theme on migration. We are doing so as philosophers, not as economists, not as social scientists, but as people who are interested in the foundations, the principles that undergird our actions when it comes to theorizing on migration. And Alex just read the slide that we see. I may want to stop sharing and reshare just in case it went off for some of you. It's simply sought to tell us, that slide tells us that migration is not a new thing. So whatever we mean by migration, before we even delve into it, we are being prompted that, look, don't think that it is something that just came up. People have moved from one place to the other. That's the second paragraph now. So human mobility was present. Even in the primitive time, people moved to look for food, for protection, to secure themselves from physical dangers and what have you. Very important point to start off with, that it is not something that just came up because of anything. It has always been there. And so it is likely going to be there till thy kingdom come. That is why, as thinkers, we would want to check what we can do to either enhance the migration process, or if it is not too good, how we can forestall its effects, something around that. And so we have to take note of the last paragraph, though, which says, today's world has made it more paramount that we take a closer look at migration. Okay. And why? Why is that? It's because of the industrialization and urbanization drive, says landlord. Okay. So please read on. Read this one too. Still the introduction.
Okay. The factors like development of modern means of transport and communication, intermingling and interaction of different cultures, globalization, etc., has led thousands of people to migrate in search of better opportunities related to education, employment, and living standard, among other factors.
Yes, please read the rest. Afterwards, we will just speak to the slides. Right.
Okay. Migration is one of the causes of social change, and it is one of the three basic components of demographic change, the other two being birth and death. Migration is a complex phenomenon affected by many factors, and attempts have been made from time to time to understand the various factors influencing the process.
Excellent read. Well done, sir. So the point is, not only is migration something that has always been with us, but in today's world, because of the urbanization and the industrialization. So you may want to read around those two concepts to find out what do we mean when we say industrialization. That is, if someone still doesn't think they understand what industrialization and urbanization is, then you read around it to fill in the gap. But the point we made is that because of that, it has even increased the tendency of people migrating, moving from one place to the other. Human mobility, moving around, mobile phone mobility. Some factors like, so Ebushian mentioned the plenty. Alex told us people are mixing. So there's a mixing, there is communication. People are transporting, moving from one place to the other. Education is making you move from your quote and unquote comfortable Africa to be in, Obimasu and eat hamburger when maybe you're a fufu person. Okay, people are moving, the living standards and stuff like that. So mobility, or if you like migration, just like birth and death, are key demographic the factors that contribute to what demographic change. Talking about how many people live. Look at Accra. We had a very wonderful time at the main campus session yesterday. Accra is heavily dense. There has to be a reason why. There are places when you go, there are vast lands there. Look at the Kaya syndrome we have. What will make someone leave the comfort of their? Some have livelihoods there, but how lively is that livelihood for them to move all the way down here? And sometimes don't have a place of abode and all that. What will make people move from one place to the other? That should take us to the next slide. See that? So there are factors that influence such movements. On our screen now, we are talking about the points of discussion. And I think Alex will do as the last honors for this also. What are the points of discussion? As philosophers, they are not political scientists. And that there shouldn't be any conflict between that. But the point is the emphasis that we are seeking to place is not what perhaps the political scientists, or if you like, the social scientists, or what have you, may be focusing on. They may be describing patterns, detecting trends, and what have you. You are a thinker. You contribute to the discourse. What do you have to say normatively? What should be the case, not what is the case. See? And so maybe for the one checking inflation and what have you, how we should distribute resources, they may be focusing on the description of the state of affairs. Borders are closed. People close their borders. Governments do this, do that. So that is just a gathering of fact. That's what we mean when we say describing what is the case. But the philosopher's heartbeat is not just a description of what is the case. You have to get that from start. Okay. But what should be the case? What should nations block their borders? Should people ask for permission before they enter another nation? Why? What grounds? What is the source of that legitimacy? Please look on my screen. So look at the thing. The point of migration raises important and challenging normative questions. Normativity, normative, right and wrong, the norm, what ought to be the case, not what is done. COVID time, we were told to sleep. Don't get out of your own house that you built. Don't sit in that your own car and move on that stretch. It's a lie. You move. Why? Flights were halted. Someone has bought their own ticket. They came from their own country. They have come here. They say you are not moving. Do state, look on my screen, please. What is the legitimacy of state power? State exercise power over borders. But what, if anything, justifies this power? You see, that's the question you ask. Is there any justification for that supposed power that states will to say that you folks should sit in your S-hole? It's online, so I can't say the way the fine gentleman, fair gentleman, US said the last time. Okay. Some begrudge him. I don't know why. What's your problem? When you are leaving your hostel, you lock your house. And you will not be happy if people just come in and go because they feel you have been able to do your house fine, or your state fine. You say stay in your S-hole there and let us protect ours. Ghana first, we say. Someone's America first. Now the question we are asking is, if the state has the power over its borders to restrict entry and exit, what? That's if, because not everyone that thinks so. Something, no. The borders are not legitimate. Then you say, oh, but that is how the world is now. Well, we are not describing what is the case. We want to know, should it be the case? Because perhaps we are able to make some contribution that helps to make it better than what it is now. So that is what we are doing a normative study, we are doing philosophy, not economics, for example, not political science. So we may be reflecting on the politics or reflecting on the economics or the policy makers' views. Okay. What power does the state have to restrict its borders? You want to go to America, you apply, get a visa, come go. You don't get a visa, you don't get your money back. So you are going into America, you apply for permission to enter. American is coming to Ghana, he doesn't apply. Well, the American hasn't said he doesn't want to apply. You don't ask him to apply. There's no visa coming to Ghana. You beg for them to come. We need a foreign exchange, a foreign currency. The point is, Should there be restrictions? What will justify the restriction? Health. You see, some nations are blacklisted. So when they are traveling, they have a lot of restrictions. Why? Some are asking that what is the legitimacy of that so-called? If it is some social and political philosophy together, so you can check that. The second point of discussion, what are the boundaries of political membership? So Ghana had a recent issue I can refer to when we're going to vote. The concern was some people at the border states, the borderlines of Ghana, are not Ghanaian, but they are coming into vote. We heard that in the news at least. Okay. And so national security and what have you were sent there because they are not supposed to be able to contribute to. I don't vote in America because I'm not an American citizen. It's illegitimate to do that. Why? Because I will be imposing my choice on people, and I'm not the one who is going to be ruled by the people, so I don't have to choose. The thinking then was that these people don't belong to that political grouping, which we call Ghana, and yet they want to contribute to the voting of whoever has to lead. I think around our top down up there, and then also around the our borders at Cote d'Ivoire, the one with Togo, we had issues. Now the question is, what are the boundaries of political membership? It has so much to do with migration, free movement of people from one place to the other. They are going there short. Okay. What defines it? Because perhaps, okay, perhaps the person at that border doesn't think that he is not Ghanaian. Because he's not looking at any falsely created fake boundaries that put up there by a colonial master. That's not what he's seeing. Maybe he's seeing a family group, an ethnic group in that border on the two so-called countries. So I don't know that the ethnic groupings. I don't want to give any false labeling. But if I see myself as, let's say those are the border Fantis. There may be half Fantis in Ghana, I have Fantis in Ivory Coast, or have Fantis in Togo and have Fantis in Ghana. The person sees themselves as a Fanti, not Ghana or Togo. So if they are voting in Ghana, the person has their family. They come and bath in Ghana. They go there show, and they come. He thinks or she thinks she belongs to what? Because she belongs to Fanti. What defines political membership? Because some of the boundaries are false boundaries. They are make beliefs. You can't use the pen, the colonialist quip, to decide where Ghana ends and where Togo begins. And I think Nigeria has same with Cameroon also over their borders. The point is, what are the boundaries of political membership? What about ECOWAS? If I'm a member of ECOWAS, I may not be Nigerian, but the border, you see what we are talking about now. So can the non-Ghanaian, let's use our Nigerian friends, can they come into the market? So there we go. You see the discourse. It goes to that and sell biscuits and sell plantain, ripe plantain. We have Chinese folks in Ghana that sell plantain, ripe plantain. I mean, I jokingly told our that if you are a guest and you come to a home, normally they give you the best set. I mean, normally, let me talk for the typically African set. Okay, the Paris bowls that are not even used to serve, we'll pull it out there, depending on your level of honor that we give you as a guest. We pull it out. We use that to serve you. We give you the best part of the meal because you just came, one of you go. So sometimes what is left is just scrap, small bits and pieces of the food that is left in the kitchen for the home people. Not a big one. You are the guest, so we give you the big one so that you can enjoy our nation and go. Now the small ones, so I'm talking about retailing. They're very minute retailing businesses too. If the guest takes it in the name of free border, they're setting it up. Look at that. What then would the children in the home eat? Now that you have eaten the one that we put on the dining table, we are in the kitchen scratching the under of the saucepan to get something. You have come. Please give me a spoon. I want to join. is how some see it. So on the political membership, some add for extra no, if we open our borders to everybody from everywhere, before long, our very worthwhile, respectful, cultural, social, there we go, way of life, sometimes even religious, but the religion one is often toned down. People don't want to sound. They speak about it in the name of culture. Will be corrupted. Yes, you see the argument lines for some people. It will be corrupted. So for certain people, when we were going to do the World Cup in Qatar, you heard a discourse. That is our sovereign right. That's how we run our state. Hello, people. You can't come here to do X, Y, and Z. But we will host it because we are also part of the United Nations. And it was respected. I'm just trying to show you. So there are arguments. So the third one, is it morally permissible? Morally. Don't go talking, oh, but if you go to UN, so and so, that is what is the case. That is descriptive. We are stating facts. We are questioning the supposed fact. Should it be so? So is it morally permissible for liberal democratic states to prevent their citizens from exiting the country? I am leaving the country to go somewhere. See, I don't have yellow fever injection, so I can't go. I don't want paying the flight. Well, the question is, when you bring the yellow fever into someone else's country, are you the one going to do the health? Are you going to take people to hospital when you infect them? Those are the dynamics. So when we are engaging this, we are looking at the positives, the negatives. Someone is entering your nation. What if he's a suicide bomber or a terrorist? There should be some kind of restriction, says those who argue that. Others say, oh, but if you have proper checks and balances, you should be able to fish out terrorists and bad. Allow for free flow, born free everywhere in change. Say, let people move freely. Rather than if people are coming from so and so place, they must have visa. But if they are from so and so and so and so place, that one they can come in. I'm talking European Union, okay? I'm talking Schengen visa. But if you are coming from so and so place, that one, no, you can't go. You can't travel. Every entry point, you must have a visa. Restrictions. Before you talk, oh, but that is not fair. Check your door. When you were coming, you logged it. But your brother has access to your, he has your keys. He can come in. Sometimes not even your brother, a friend that shares some common ties with you, whatever, has your spare key, can come into your room anytime. Why is it that your landlord or your neighbor doesn't have it? Over to you. So the exiting and the entering, the argument made for that. That is the third point of discussion. And finally, if liberal democratic states are justified in excluding some and accepting others, how should they decide whom to admit? I just took you through that. Okay. Do you have any questions? I see all of you here. Very good. So let's know. There's no question, then I talk up. Now, so the slide number 5, which I'm projecting now, shows you some migration facts. Just facts that you can now do your reflections on or read around further on. Look at the number of people that migrate. You will be shocked. They are moving all over the place. And this was as late as 2016. On your screens now, please. For the sake of my special students for main campus, do I have them for me? No, not for level 400, so we are fine. But 244 million international migrants. About 3% of the world's population are moving. They're just moving from one place. Look at it. The second one. Most international migrants have moved to countries with higher levels of development than their countries of origin. We already interrogated the concept of development, so I don't want to go into it. But some things are obvious, friends. If you got an international contract right now, you would go to church, you and I, and go and give thanksgiving offering because you know that your life has changed. A migration fact on your screen now. Can I have one of you read this? Just the titles is what we'll be reading to help us remember. What are the factors that move? Please raise your hand if you want to read. Alex, thank you very much. factors that influence our mobility from one place to the other. Anybody wants to read that? Is it only Alexander that is in the class, please? Because of network issues, I don't want to call people, then I may embarrass them. So, okay, go ahead. Thank you. There's the title. Mano, we can hear you.
Work is the top motivating factor. That is
very good. Work. Very good. Thank you very much. Work. Work. You heard it from your class rep for your own remembrance. Work is the top motivating factor. The person who did this work did a descriptive study, facts, gathering of data, so that you can speak to data, not Buslemuka, not you just mention something and say you are good. No. So there's the research that was done that has been projected. People move from one place to the other for work. Some of us have very fine home facilities that we have procured, but because of work, you can't even stay in it. So some of you are very, okay, maybe you live in Kufudia or somewhere, you have your own establishment, nice building, you know. But if you come to work in Accra, why Accra? Because that is where the industries perhaps are. Our friend said he will spread it out. You didn't vote for him, you people. And I will have work all over the place. So that the kaya eating, for example, which is the motivating factor we are told that moves people all the way from northern Ghana, we can reference Ghana, or all the way from Africa, far away, Europe or somewhere, okay, going to look for greener pastures. Okay, the second one on our screen, I want someone to read it. It helps for remembrance. Thank you, Emmanuel. Someone else, very quickly, please keep your hands up so that when it's your turn, it's just the title I want you to read. Let's make the class a bit more interactive and end. Nobody else wants to read apart from Alexander and Emmanuel Tibila. Okay, so on the screen, we see, thank you, Alex, I've seen it already. The desire to live is strongest in the young and educated. This is not something that is contentious at all. Grandma who has finished living, or sometimes they are even in a hurry to come back home. They don't have the desire to live to another place. They want to be settled at a place that they call home already. Okay. But it is the young folk and the one that is educated that thinks that they can't sit here and waste their resources. They want to go find greener pastures. Also, some say most Africans prefer to stay close to home. I said they ask your friends some campus. They said because communal and family, the sense of family. It's a funeral this weekend. There is that. So where people can, they want to be close to home. You know, the system itself won't permit you to even leave grandma alone or uncle alone. So I have a friend, church friend, who is in Accra Monday and Tuesday, is away to wherever he is, I can mention the rest of the week, and back in Accra on Friday. You can imagine, because he's taking care of people. Has to be so close. He gets a very good appointment somewhere beyond Accra. He doesn't want to. So you have to make do with what is it. That is the point being made. Your movement is regulated by a sense of wanting to be close to home. For Africa, possibly because of our communality. Then international migration from sub-Saharan Africa has solved. Obviously, what should they do? it will go high. Okay. The reasons you are best able to tell. Do women move easily than men? It depends. So look at the facts and then speak to them and do your analysis and your critiquing and your contribution. Mm-hmm. It's the most migration is from agricultural to industrial areas. Is there a reason why? Perhaps the industrialization helps. Now, can I have someone read the push and pull factors? Not Alex and not class rep any longer. I've already awarded them their marks on file. Someone else. Now you are muted, so unmute first. Afterwards, Olivia can continue. So please unmute and read. We are reading the push and pull factors.
Push and pull factors. Migration is broadly understood as a permanent or semi-permanent change of residence.
Now we know what migration is. Go ahead.
In other words, migration may be defined as a form of relocation diffusion, the spread of people, ideas, innovations, behaviors from one place to another, involving permanent moves to new locations.
Take note of how much emphasis has been made, or how much expansion, how we have explained migration. It doesn't have to be a total move, a permanent change. You may come to Accra, or you may go to America because you are going to do a study there and come back, or Netherlands, or wherever, Iceland, because you have started a business there and you want it to flourish. When it does, you leave it in the hands of whatever, build satellite offices and come back home. So it doesn't have to necessarily be permanent, okay? But the movement, oftentimes, to seek greener pastures, or also on your screen now, we are going to read that shortly, but it helps spread people, ideas. Take note. Migration moves people, their ideas, their behaviors. Remember what God told the Israelites. Be careful not to intermarry with the people. There's a reason. When you are moving around, you pick things, you pick ideas, you pick ways of life, you pick behaviors, values. It moves from one place to the other. Clothing. You know, Tofisa came to Ghana, the desert. Yeah. In the mobility, we're going to help you do your critiquing when you are examining the views that perhaps you will be asked to. You have to know that it is not just people that move. When people move, they move with their ideas, they move with innovations. Are those innovations always positive? Is every development or every growth a positive one? You have to interrogate that. We have done the development team already. Okay. And so watch why, because your understanding of that will show in how you interrogate open or closed borders, what you make of it. If you think that the cultural changes, for instance, may be good, it may liberate some women that are being suppressed, or it may change the outlook of the farmer. So he will see that, oh, when this other farmer came around, look at he is industrialized, even how he harvests the corn. Within 3 months, he has several acres of corn harvested, polished, bagged, sealed. Perhaps he will learn from that and stop the whole or whatever issue that. So it might be positive. Others may think, no, it might be negative. Corrupt our values. Just see people blah blah blah. Okay. So understand that it is behaviors that are moving around if people move, ideas that are moving. It is people that are moving, and that has implications. Sister, read the next paragraph, Miss Na. Still on your slide. Yeah, on slide number 11 for those who may.
The reasons that people migrate are determined by push and pull factors, which are forces that either induce people to move to a new location or oblige them to leave old residences. These could be economic, political, cultural, and environmental.
You could even add religious. Maybe something of cultural as also religious, not necessarily. Some are economic, some are political. Someone has moved to Israel. Okay. Yeah. Because they think that is the holy land. So in their elderly, when they get into their grown state, they want to be closer to heaven, something like that. So they can migrate there if they have the will with that. Okay. Some may move from some place to Dubai or Qatar or Saudi Arabia or something. Mecca. Look at how many people go to Mecca. Because it is religiously inspired. Okay. And so you have to understand people's movements are influenced heavily by economic factors. That's key. Political ones are also there. And then there's cultural and environmental, and religious as well. Okay. What do you need to know on this slide? The push factors. Push. When I push you, you are somewhere and then the force is coming from behind. Okay, so I'm pushing you out. It means it's from home. Something is making you leave. Sister read that. Now read the first two lines of the second paragraph. She says, forces that oblige people to leave their old residence. It pushes you out. Okay. Then the pull factors, pulling is from in front of you. If someone is pulling you, the person is ahead. Okay, so he will drag you out. If it is a push, the person is behind. Okay, so it's from home. If you achieve, you antecedent. If you understand that, you can write your essays on pull and push factors easily, not just recounting and parroting what someone has said, but with understanding. I'm saying that sometimes you don't want to leave where you are to another place, but something pushes you out. That's what Na said. At other times, come on screen now. At other times, nobody's pushing you out of home, but something else rather is attracting you, is pulling you to leave home. Okay, so on slide number 12 now, Miss Na do this one, then Abigail can take over.
Push factors include non-availability of enough livelihood opportunities, poverty, rapid population growth that surpasses available resources, primitive or poor living conditions, desertification, famines, droughts, fear of political persecution, poor health care, loss of wealth, and natural disasters. Pull factors are exactly the opposite of push factors. They attract people to a certain
You realize
location.
that? Don't worry, don't worry. Hey, my sister, listen to me. So, what is happening at the Gaza Strip now? I've not followed the news in days now, but in recent days, we know what was happening there. People are forced to have to migrate. I don't want to go into the legitimacy or otherwise of what anybody is doing, but my concern is people are moving, whether Jew or whatever, whether Israelite or Palestinian. People are moving. It's migration. But perhaps not for greener pastures, but for political reasons or because there's war. You want to be alive, you got to move. You see, natural disasters can make you move. People had to move from Turkey, that particular part of Turkey that went, you know, I had a student, they were about 3, he changed it. Scholarship was already, I can speak freely. I've not mentioned it. Sent me a message that as soon as that thing happened, students like him who are international students, most of them have had to withdraw their studentship with fully funded scholarship, my friend, which people are looking for, and reapply somewhere else. Okay, that is not a pull factor. It's a push factor. Something at home pushes him out. So before you think of primitive or poor living conditions and desertification, farming, and whatever, look at such factors as well. Sometimes the person is not even like, anxiously looking for something that is better. So someone will say that you are greedy or something. You are in Ghana. You should manage with what you have. Now be Ghana. Say that you are going to pass on stowaway and you're going. No. Do you know stowaway? Going through the ship without paying for it. Sometimes it is not even about our livelihood. It's about life proper. People have to move. That's why I gave you these examples. Okay, it pushes you out of the home. There, you just have to pick up one small bag, and put some few vegetables and fruits you can get in, and carry your little ones. It's that movie, like we are seeing on TV at the Gaza Strip. There, okay, for both sides really, not for one group. One group just perhaps wants to portray strength, another perhaps not, and then perhaps the real personalities that are in the midst of all these things are hidden. You have to understand push factors that cause migration. The second one obviously will be the pull factors down there on your screen. Superior education. When you see the other one and it is superior, it will attract you. Nobody is pushing you out of home. There's education in your country too, or in your community. But you look at the other one, perhaps you look at how there's just about 5 students for level 400. They have each has his or her computer lab, it's a lab computer desk. They can access it anytime, 24-hour internet. You have your hostel, electricity fully given. You have some groceries given to you. Have a stipend. 5 people, level 400. And the instructor is worried. The numbers are too many. I'm sure you are laughing at. I have not said anything. We are recorded as well. Who say anything? 5. The person is overwhelmed. Really? Yeah. That's about 500,000% somewhere. The people are surviving. You see, so superior education, superior, yes. That's why I put content to it. Superior education, perhaps not in terms of the delivery, but in terms of the structural, whatever that you have there. Religious freedom, political welfare systems, grandma and grandpa, when they get out of work, there's a place, weekend for all such people. The system takes care of that. You look at that and it attracts you, it pulls you out. Better transportation, you can be sure that by age 5, there will be a train or a bus or a tube at the so and so junction. The next 2 minutes, the other one will be there, about 6 of them going across. So you can give yourself 15 minutes and be on time. Don't say African time or Ghanaian time. Maybe there is a systemic challenge. It's not the persons that don't want to be on time. You want to just to the healthcare system. You just have a facility you can go to, insurance takes care of that. You give birth to your child today. Excuse me. And so people would want to migrate as soon as they get pregnant and they move, then they'll come back home and later go. I want you to understand these are factors that attract, they pull you out, whilst the push factors keep you. Those who are reading, the groups, the set of people that are reading trends, patterns, drivers. Those who came in late, we assigned group work. The trends group, you are the group, you are group 1, 3, and 5. If you read that, you should be able to see what the authors say about the push and pull factors for migration in Africa. Come and help us. Any questions? Then we go to the next half, which I have finished presenting on. So we'll just deliberate. Thank you, Na. Please, now, which of the nouns is this? Your full name, please, so that I can put it on file.
Florence Naya Kokujo.
You. Thank you, my lady. Any questions, everyone? If not, Olivia can do the second half. So Olivia, please go ahead. Olivia Hime. We are going to close or open borders. Political theories of migration. Please read this.
Closed or open borders. International migration in exit, migration, emigration, and entry, immigration.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, my dear. Please, are you using a headpiece?
No.
Okay, then could you just speak up a little bit more so we can hear you? Others may just listen to hear. I have special students who may play back. So when they are playing back, then they can hear you clearly. Okay. So please raise your voice a little bit more. International migration involves both exit, that's emigration, and entry immigration. Read from public debate now. Thank you.
Public debate in liberal democratic countries has focused mostly on immigration, with the issue often framed in binary terms. You are either for or against it. On one side are those who regard borders as unjust and inefficient. Most migrants want little more than to make better lives for themselves. What moral or political theory could justify preventing people from moving where they want to go? Global egalitarians and
Libertarian, don't
libertarians
worry.
join with immigrant rights advocates in arguing for generally open borders.
Well done. Thank you very much, Abigail. So the explanation is when we are talking about migration, we look at it from 2 points of view: leaving the country or coming into the country. So when you are leaving, you are exiting. So you are an emigrant, the E1, emigrant. Then when you are coming in, you are an immigrant. Okay. Now the focus says this also that we reference. The focus of the migration discussion or theorizing has been on entry, immigrants. So you see that we have immigration officer in Ghana. It is more concerned about the one coming in. In other words, you don't belong there and you are coming in. We are focused on checking you. If Ghanaians return home, that one I can give it to our home. In the past, sometimes it wasn't fair, but now they are. When they get at the same, you say, "Oh, I don't you offer." No, you say, "Oh, pass here, pass here, pass." You don't even check. The checks are not made. The same way, when you also travel with others into Europe, whichever nation, when they go, there is a place to check the passport for those who belong there, and for the others who don't belong there, and those who don't belong there, and they are far away from those who belong. So, like the African queue, and then the other one. You see that you go through a lot of stress. Checks, you go there, they check you, you go out, check again, especially you are blacklisted, sort of. Okay. And the point I'm making is, Madam just read that some are not for closed borders. They don't think we should close your borders. And they try to make arguments for that. The rest of the work will be yours to find out some of the arguments that have been made. They don't think closed borders are justice. That's it. That's an ethical issue. It's not just. If you say, "Oh, but dog," that is what you and Chata did this case. You see, you are forgotten that you are doing a prescriptive study, a normative study, you are doing, philosophizing, reflecting on what the given state of affairs is. Don't tell me what is the case. We are asking, should it be so? Should it be so? Normativity. That's what we are looking at. Okay. Is it just? What is the source of that so-called justice? Says those who disagree. Okay. They think it's not just to close your borders. And not just a question of justice, but it's also inefficient. I gave you instances with the ECOWAS. Suppose the whole of Africa as a continent allowed for free flow of our goods and services. Markets, I mean, economic, political. If we didn't need visas within Africa, so I could do my pantikenke, Ghanaian pepper, or plantain chips, and then by morning, by flight, it will be in South Africa, it will be in Zimbabwe. Look at the market and what will happen to the economy of Africa in tandem with or in relation with Europe or whatever. What does Europe produce? Naturally, what? You see, so this is the tone of, I'm advocate. As a lecturer, you are teaching the students and giving different perspectives. So when I pick a viewpoint, I speak it as if I stand for it until you see me move to the other person's view. Then you realize that, oh no, she's not supporting that, or neither is she denouncing that. I have to let you see how the one who argues that way presents the argument. Make the economy big, open the borders, let people freely move so that the kenke won't get spoiled. Sometimes we have so much tomato up there. Tomato, plenty in Ghana. Plantain, bordio, plantain, plenty. Can do plantain, but it's stuck there, even within Ghana, it's stuck at one place. Of course, for that one, not because the borders are closed, but there's no access. So even where there is no access, if we had a market beyond Ghana, then the person would know that they are reaching people in maybe Gabon, what have you, that need it for their various needs. It's just a matter of getting a helicopter and paying for it because the market is there to sell. Sometimes we have acres and acres and acres of rice or something going back. Listen, friends, those who argue this way say there is so much inefficiency economically, what have you. I'm sure there will be several when it comes to closed borders. So it's not only a matter of not being just, but it's also inefficient. Says some group of people. Which people are those? Abigail read it. She says the global egalitarian. The word egalitarian comes from equality. treating people equally. So they think that globally we should treat people equally. And then there are libertarians, liberty. Remember social and political philosophy, those who emphasize liberty. What we did Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto versus the Libertarian Manifesto. These are supposedly two extremes. And then Rawls's liberalism tries to mitigate or mediate and bridge the gap. Okay, libertarians emphasize liberty, that's freedoms, people's right, freedom to move where they want to be, freedom. Remember what Donald Trump, America's former president, said. I don't care what you make of what he said. That is your view. Whether you accept it or reject is not a problem. That is not what we are discussing. But he said that stay in your so and so home. You cannot mess up your place. If your place was fine, why are you coming to America? That's okay. You see, people don't want to. So if you were to make how many European citizens have passports? Because you need a passport to go somewhere. How many of them? Check American citizens. You can Google and see how many have passports to go where. But come to you and I or somewhere. Plenty passports. Some have 3 and 4. Where are you going to? Make your home well, says others. And so they won't open borders easily. If you are coming strictly because you're coming to do something, and you can go get visa. That's the point. So the counter response is what I've given you, which people are advocating for. Allow the borders to be open because it's just and efficient. It is what the global egalitarians and libertarians, those who advocate for the rights of what? Immigrants. Immigrant rights. These 3 people say that. Abby, please read the next one. I've enlarged it a bit more.
God, please, it's Olivia.
Hey, I beg you. I've said Abigail, Olivia. Sorry, Olivia. Thank you. Go ahead. Afterwards, Joycelyn will read. Her hand is up.
On the other side of the debate are proponents of more restrictive immigration policies. Cultural nationalists view immigration as posing a challenge to the national identity they value.
I've already touched on this, so I don't want to go over again, but I want to prompt that these people think otherwise. They don't agree with the earlier group of people we talked about. Look at their name. They are nationalists, protecting the identity of the nation. Nationalism. Okay. Me, Ghana, Ghana first, America first. That kind of language. Perhaps this one, you would have to look at who is speaking because of Ghana's welfare, let's open the borders, see that, so that we'll get more ideas to develop Ghana. So you can have nationalists that rather think open borders, augur well for the welfare of the nation, bring investors, those people from the diaspora, let them come and help us. So keep the borders open, make taxation and those things easy. Digitalization. Do that so that even though I'm outside, I can easily send so and so. So this person may still be a nationalist, but advocates for what? Open borders. We are not talking about those. We are talking about nationalists that say, because of the very special identity we have, the more we open our borders, sometimes it's religious, sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's economic. You bring in too many different ideas. Remember, the mobility is with ideas, persons, behaviors, values. They all move with the people that move. So you will come and spoil what we already have. That is what Olivia just read. Cultural nationalists will not agree with global egalitarians. They won't. They won't agree with libertarians. They won't. And they won't agree with what? Immigration rights advocates. They won't agree with them. So then nationalist folks, the cultural nationalists, you see that the next one also talks about economic nationalists. I talked about a Chinese friend now prepare roasting plantain. That is, I mean, retail. So you can't do that. I cannot go to America and go sell plantain on the street like that if I'm not a citizen. It's not done that way. You leave those ones, like I gave you a scenario, the saucepan scratching and whatever, you leave it for the people in-house to enjoy that. once you have access to it, I'm done explaining. So read it. Jocelyn can do the last one. We end for the day. So you may read from some. Go ahead.
Some nationalists define the nation not only in terms of shared values, but also in racial, ethnic, and religious.
Religious terms. Yeah.
Some social democrats and other economic nationalists. Nationalists favor immigration restrictions for a different reason, protecting domestic workers from the competitive pressures said to be generated by immigration.
Said to be generated by immigration. Well done, well read. They don't want, I mean, I don't want to refer to too many things, but you know what happened in recent time. People went to shops and closed it. Quote and unquote foreigners. The shops of foreigners in Ghana, the Ghanaian folks, and it is not because perhaps the Ghanaian folks are not, conscious of the law or whatever. They felt that the law was rather being overlooked, and it is costing them. The person doesn't pay certain entitlement because they are foreign. They don't pay certain, things, certain taxes and whatever that others in the country is the other way around. So, and sometimes the currency different. So if the person buys a cocoa or something and brings it here, or the popcorn or whatever, or the rice, and brings it here, or the clothes, tie and dye, or Ghana made kente, or vis-a-vis one that is, I don't want to be mentioning too many nations, but the other one coming, they didn't struggle because technology is okay. That they bring it all here. Then the one that took time to do the boom kente, and got it, doesn't get it. Her own becomes very expensive. So the competition, economies of scale, the person is doing a lot with targeting a big market. The cost becomes lesser for that person. For instance, okay, perhaps sometimes it is not competitiveness; it is just quality. Perhaps it's possible. But how will you develop your so-called local rice that is not quality if you don't allow it to develop? You have to patronize it, and then the persons get more resources. Then now they can do more thorough work on it done. Because the other one you are going to buy that you say is better. They went through a process. You're not allowing yours to go. That's the argument for others. Okay. So that competition, because of that competition, some say no. Do not think with that. I'll thank my lady Olivia and then ask Joycelyn to do as the last set. On the conventional view, we just do the introduction and I'll end. Let's like I ended with main campus. I would have given every stream, the three of you, some introduction to what you should go and read and present on. Then we'll mop up. God willing, next week. Sister, read, please. Thank you.
Conventional view. Many theories writing about justice, equality, freedom, and democracy mostly take for granted that their theories apply within the context of the nation state to those who are already members. Many people take for granted that states have the right to control immigration. After all,
states have the right to control what, please?
Migration.
Migration. Good. Go on.
After all, states do exercise power over borders, regardless of whether there is any compelling justification for it.
Let's continue now. Good.
Michael Walzer.
Walzer. Go ahead.
Michael Walzer, 1983, was one of the first contemporary political theories to explicitly examine the issues of political membership in debates about distributive justice.
Yes, from here, I am giving you an advantage over main campus, and I don't want to. I want you to go and read and see it. But look at the summary of what Michael Walzer is doing. He tries to open out the discussion. Thank you, my lady Joyce. He's trying to, when we talk about political membership, who a member of a political group is. We can think of political membership in different ways. Look at my screen now, please. The first analogy is, look at the second paragraph. You can think of political membership in terms of how you think of neighborhood, Adenta housing. You see, Legon campus, if you live on NSA or something like that. So, but NSA doesn't capture it well, like Adenta housing or the best. Adenta housing. So if you think of political membership in that sense of the word, a member of a neighbor, how we think of a member of a neighbor, it will call for something. It means you are just looking at close proximity. That is what defines it. Others think that no. Look at the second analogy, and then I'll end. You have to go and read it and make your notes from there. He does that in 3 different ways. Look on my screen now, please. The second one is what? Like members of a club. Club. I don't know which club you have in mind, but maybe the immediate one will be as Association of Philosophy and Classic Students. I don't know the extent to which it is a club for you, but look at that analogy, what it will mean if you saw nationhood or political membership in the sense in which a club is. But a club you can enter and leave anytime. See? And then he gives a third one. I want you to read, my dear friends. Main campus, I didn't even tell them this, because your exam questions will come from there. It's a third one. Look out also for the arguments that have been made for open borders. What is the foundation? Something human beings are autonomous, free agents. You should allow them to move. If you take away their freedom, you have made them less human. You also have to treat people equally. But what about the health concerns? What about the drug infestation? What about bringing things that are not acceptable? You will read and find it. Okay. So when we meet, God willing, next week, we'll focus on the conventional view, but we'll take it from Michael Walzer, conventional view on political membership. Who a member of a polity is, or how should we conceive of political membership according to Michael Walzer? Should we think of political membership in terms of neighborhood, families? That's the third one. Should we think of it the way we think of family? Your family member is your family member, whether you live with him or not, whether it's far away or close to you. Family member is family member. When you go to boarding house or you travel outside for a study, you haven't ceased to be your mother's son or your brother's, sister or brother. Okay, so that, if I think of community in terms of familiar or ties, the implications. If I think of it as a club, of it as a neighborhood, that what does Walzer advocate for and why? And do you agree with him or not, and why? See that kind of questioning. Enjoy it. Olivia, thank you, Alexander, and thank you, Emmanuel Boassa. There was someone, and thank you, Miss Na. And thank everybody for coming. Do you have any questions? I want to pause the recording so that we don't go beyond 1.5 hours. All right. So I will meet God willing next week, also online, hopefully, to finish up this one. Please prepare your presentations. I will open on Sakai for you to submit the document. And then when we meet online, depending on how the class goes, I'll ask you to speak to what you have submitted. And I'm going to decide, I can always say, which member in which of the 3 will do the presentation. For Make Campus, I ask them to pick their best from all the 3 different groupings and present so that the mark that will come will be shared. But I leave that to you. Yeah. migration.